I spent too much money on this project. I also screwed up a lot. But part of life is learning from your mistakes. So maybe you can learn from mine. All right. So when you're looking at building something, maybe it's a doghouse, maybe it's a chicken coop, maybe it's a barn in the backyard, whatever it is you're going to build, the first thing you need to do is figure out where are we going to build it. All right, pick a spot. You have a yard and it's only so big, so pick a spot, and it needs to be a spot that makes sense. It needs to make sense in where you would actually be able to utilize it, and where it's not in the way and makes efficient use of space. You don't necessarily want to build a tool shed right dead center in the middle of the yard, or exactly 5.5 feet away from the fence when you have a 6-foot pin that you want to put between that shed and the fence later on. Then you're going to have to move the shed. You don't want to do that. So you need to have some forethought when you decide where to build things. That is going to be very important. The second step, and I did mine backwards. I switched my second and third step. The second step needs to be to acquire materials. Okay. Since we're trying to do this on the budget and try to use the reclaimed materials where we can, we don't know what we're going to have until we get it. So if you plan your build around 10-foot sections the way that I did mine, but then you go to buy lumber and everything is in 8-foot pieces, then you're going to have to change your plans. Okay. If you go out and you go out and there's chicken houses that are being torn down, and that's where you're getting your lumber, and they have 16-foot sticks of wood is your primary length of wood that you're getting, then you need to plan your build around that. You're probably going to wind up with something like an 8x16 or an 8x8. You can cut the 16-footers into quarters and make another 4-foot, so you can do 20-foot there, but that winds up you have to scab them together. So what is it that you want to do? You're probably not doing 10-footers because, well, then you wind up with an extra 6-foot. Another thing you need to keep in mind when you're building these is none of it has to be perfect. For one thing, not very many people are actually going to look at it, and the people that are going to look at it don't care. Okay, you don't have to. This is, it doesn't have to be like it was built by an architect. It doesn't need to be up to code, for one thing. It's not nobody's living in it. If you have some things that are crooked or some things that are a little wonky, it doesn't matter. All it's got to do is have the frame and the walls, and it needs to hold up its own weight. If you live up north, you need to be able to hold up a snow load, but you're not building a big enough building to really care about a snow load, really. And even if it is, the roof of it's probably not that tall that you can't just sweep it off from the ground. So it doesn't need to even be that strong. This build here, if you took off the boards, it wouldn't be that sturdy. It kind of shakes. You could grab the post with your hand and shake it, and the whole thing would move probably 4 inches. Putting these boards here, I posted a short about it, how putting these boards here stiffened it up a lot. The secret is put as many freaking nails in things as you can. Okay. Nothing on this build is straight. The corner over here I had to splice together, and it's terrible. I might straighten some of those later on. I might not. It's back here in the lamb shed. It doesn't really matter. Okay. Total cost for this build. All right. I could have built this shed for around $500, $600 if I was smarter, but I'm not very smart. I bought new lumber before I got started on the build, and that's where all of my cost went in. That's where half of it anyway. Half of my cost went into buying these 4x4s and the pressure treated 4x4s and the brand new 2x4s to nail them together with, and the 2x6s up top. I spent way too damn much money on that. Okay, so This whole thing could have been built on the reclaimed lumber that I bought for $145. And that was after I actually even paid taxes on that particular purchase, which most of the time you won't do if you're getting reclaimed lumber. You're just going out to some farmer and you're giving him cash, and he doesn't care. Taxes are for squares anyway, right? Okay. I didn't do that. You will learn from me. Total cost that it should have been closer to $500, $600. That is $150. We're giving myself a little bit. It was $145. We'll say $150 for the lumber. And I've got a big old pile of this reclaimed lumber that's left over that I should have used. If I hadn't already bought the posts and the 2x4s, I would have used those, and then I wouldn't have a gigantic pile of trash over here in my yard. So that's $150 for the lumber. I paid $140 for the tin. They were 23-foot sheets, and they were $20 a piece. And I bought 7 of them. So that's 7 and $140. And I have plenty of extra on that. Matter of fact, my ridge cap is going to wind up being a bent piece of tin as soon as I can figure out how to bend it reliably and keep it straight. 130-ish for the blocks. I couldn't avoid that. You got to keep your stuff off the dirt, guys. With those blocks, I could have gotten away with these like freaking 8-inch blocks. I could get away with using a not pressure treated post on these, I think, but the blocks are just unavoidable. That's something you're just gonna have to pay for. And if you had a dozen old buckets that you could just fill with concrete, you might be able to get by with that and do it cheaper that way. Or if there happens to be a whole lot of bricks or blocks laying around that you can use, or do the old pioneers did and just use freaking rocks. You look at some of those old log cabins and they got rocks this big holding up the corners of them, and they're still standing after a long, long time. I bought a big case of nails because I plan on building more stuff later. I like the nails that are made for nail guns because they're all put together. You can just take that. It's like a stripper clip for an SKS. You just stick it in a pocket and go about your day. You probably pay $20, $30 for sinker nails on something like this. It's probably about what I have because I've still got 3/4 of that big case of nails left. So I really didn't spend that much. It's me about $10 for your neoprene washer roofing nails. They're just like a 2-inch nail with a little rubber washer on them, and you drive them down until they squish the washer a little bit, and that makes a seal so that water isn't leaking through the hole that you just punched in your metal. I spent $10 or $15 maybe on roofing caulking because your reclaimed metal has holes all over it, and you're not going to be able to line those up. Just don't even try. You could spend all day trying to line up those to where you could use the old holes for your new holes, and it's going to be a pain because most of those holes are cracked out anyway from when they pull them off, and it's just not worth it, guys. You need basically, let's get to the tools part of it. You need basically 4 tools. I think I got written down here. Yeah, you need basically 4 tools to do this kind of work. Okay, you need a hammer. Okay, you can get a badass framing hammer with a little magnetic starter, and that will make really short work of this. Like these boards went on really fast, and I didn't smash my thumb. It was nice. But that is a hammer that is definitely used for something that you're gonna drive nails into and then never look at ever again, because it mangles up your wood. If you can only have one hammer, that's not the one you want, because you're not gonna use it for nailing up trim on your house or hanging picture frames, because everything that hammer touches, it leaves a nice waffle pattern in, which is not ideal for a painted surface. Out here, it doesn't matter because nobody's going to look at this. Or if you're framing a house, it doesn't matter because you're going to cover it drywall. Those really good framing hammers are really only good for framing. Second thing you need is going to be a saw. Well, you got to cut your boards, right? Brand new little hand saw is 20 bucks. Okay, you can do it all with that. If you're really hurting for cash, you can do it all with a hand saw. It's not ideal. It's not very fast, and you're going to get an arm workout. Sheet metal, you're not going to reasonably cut that with a hand saw. A lot of places when you go to get it, they can cut it for you if you want. You have to ask them about it when you go to get it. You have to ask them what they can and what they can't do. And if they'll cut it for you, awesome, go for it. If they won't, you're gonna have to get a saw. A circular saw, was looking on Facebook earlier just to get an idea, and there was a circular saw, a little skill saw on there for it was like $5, I think. Somebody posted it. They were just trying to get rid of it. A lot of times you run into these estate sales where the old man passed away and they're just cleaning out the garage. So there's a couple of tools in there there's a skill saw with a rusty blade that will work just fine for as many boards as you're going to cut. You're not doing anything professionally. Time is not money for you. Probably. I don't know. You can take that circular saw, turn the blade backwards, and go cut the sheet metal. Make sure you bring earplugs because that is so freaking loud. It's as loud as gunfire. Your ears will ring for the next day if you are cutting that sheet metal without hearing protection. Like I said, you flip the blade backwards, and because if you flip it forwards, you just tear the metal. Flip it backwards, it'll cut just fine. Make sure that you flip the blade back around before you go cutting wood. Otherwise, it feels like you're trying to cut wood with a wet noodle. Ask me how I know. Next thing you need is a level. You can get a little plastic bubble level. I've got one hanging up. I've got it stuck to the sheet metal over here. They're cheap. There's nothing to it. It barely even counts on the list. I wouldn't even bother trying to find that used. They're so cheap. You want to use that level. Like I said, nothing on this build is really straight. But if you can get your foundation straight to begin with, and your post halfway, you want your post to be as close to vertical as you can. You want them to be level. You want to have at least a straight starting point, and then when everything settles, it can settle and it will be just fine. At least it started out straight. You can't control what it does afterward. The next thing you're gonna need is a caulking gun. Again, that's another $5 tool. It's nothing. I got one at Walmart the other day because the one that I had gotten silicone up in the action of it, so it wasn't working. I think I paid like $8 for it at Walmart. It was a hyper tough, cheap. I think it was red. I think it's red. Might be a black one. There was a red one, a black one. I don't remember which one I got. Like I said, your used metal, it's got holes. You need to fill those holes. If you don't fill those holes, then water's going to drip through it, and it's slightly better than out in the open, but it's still not very good. Don't use clear caulk. Okay, I don't care if you like white caulk or if you like black caulk or if you like brown caulk, but you want to not use clear caulk because it's a lot easier if whatever caulk you're using, whatever color you're using, as long as light doesn't shine through it. Because if light shines through, then when you're standing underneath of it looking for holes that you missed, you're not going to be able to tell because light shines through them anyway. So use a opaque caulking and you fill all your holes, and then you go and you stand underneath of it and you look, and in any place where the light's shining through your roof, then you know that you need to fill that hole. That is the easiest, most reliable way to do that. That's about all I've got for you today. This shed, like I said, it should have cost me about $500. It instead cost me double that. And maybe you guys can learn from me. We'll be back later to finish this up. I'll figure out how I'm going to bend that sheet metal because ridge cap is another thing that you have to go buy, and it's expensive. And I have this sheet metal laying here that I have nothing else to do with it, so I might as well use it. So when I figure out how to do that, I will make a video on that and I will post it. But till then, hi. That's all I've got for you. What are you doing? What are you doing? Yeah, you having fun out here playing around? Yeah, you like getting in the way when Daddy's recording. Oh, did you find a stick? Did you find a stick? Go get it. Yeah. There they go.